Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. It is time for me to tackle a few more smaller projects on my 1985 Squarebody. Mostly involving the steering column stuff. So let's get to it. Quick update on the rear window. I actually reached out to LMC Truck. They did confirm it. It was the correct window seal. They offered to send me another one, and they said it was probably from the same batch. So there's a chance that whatever they would have sent me would have been the exact same thing, too big for this OEM window. So that was nice of them to say they would send that out. But I just said, no, hang on to it because I don't want to mess with this. I don't want to take it back out and put another one back in and hope it's not going to be any worse than the other one. So it was the correct one. But I did want to do a couple things real quick to wrap this up before I jump into the project. Okay, one of the things I did do, use the windshield sealant to sort of get around the line up here to make sure no water gets in with this old seal. The other thing I thought I would try is this liquid chrome pen. I wanted to see if I could get some of the little nicks that I made to go away. Let me see if this works. Yeah, it does help. As you can see right there, it's probably a little out of focus. It's not great, but it does help cover up some of the white that's underneath that sort of fake chrome covering. So it helps a little bit. It'll look a little better farther away till you get up close. I can live with that. And yeah, I did have the angle way wrong. The only problem was that was the best way it would slide. And if I didn't have it down deep, it didn't want to slide very well. I'm going to go ahead and finish touching this up. All right, so what do I have to do? A couple things. None of them major, but just little things I want to fix. When I go to turn to the left in this truck and I have the turn signal on, it does not disengage. It will stay on. When you go to the right, it comes back around and clicks off. So everything's fine on that. So what I figured I would do is replace this turn signal switch. And if I'm in there, I think I also want to go ahead and replace my lock cylinder. One of the reasons why is that it came with the truck originally, and who knows how old it is. It's a weird key that's in there, and I only have one key. This way, at least, now that I've got two sets of keys for my doors, I want to have two sets of keys for the ignition too. So I figured I might as well go ahead and replace this as well. And then the last thing I want to fix is the turn signal, or the wiper switch. Reason why I want to do this one, and I don't know if it's necessarily the switch's problem, but I want to start there. It may be the motor, I don't know. But when I turn on the wipers will go just fine. When I turn them off, they do not stop. And I'm thinking that it may be this switch. So I want to kind of, like I said, replace that and see what happens. The only way I can get it to turn off is if I actually pull down all the way down onto like the wiper wash part. If I pull that all the way down, the wipers will stop, but they don't park. They will just stop right there. So I have to wait for them to get all the way down and then hit that little switch, and then it turns them off. So again, just something small that I don't necessarily have to do. The other thing that I'm kind of switching up on this is that the Silverado comes with cruise control. I do not have the cruise control set up. I don't even know what it looks like. So when I had the engine, the blueprint engine put in and all that, I just took out everything. So I figured I would go with the wiper switch that doesn't have the cables and everything else for the cruise control. So the cool thing is I don't have to worry about that wiring, but I do have to get the old wiring out. That kind of worries me a little bit. And then also to attach this wiring for the turn signal switch, I need to be able to drop the column to get down to that stuff. So that has me a little bit worried, but I'll figure it out. So let's jump on it. Also, I had to buy another tool that I will probably never use again, but it's that steering wheel lock thingy, the lock plate remover. I've got a steering wheel puller, but I've not actually had this before, so I figured I'd pick one of these up, and that will help make the job of getting that little lock ring off a little easier. All right, so that's plastic, goes in there on the metal so it doesn't really, God, I really should replace that. That's got a big crack in it. All right, the other thing that I'm going to try to do is take as many pictures as I can, because knowing me, I'd forget where everything goes, but I at least got my wheel lined up. I can even feel it just locked in place. I think this is 13/16. And I think these are Torx 20s. Look at that. Wow. A little spark coming off of there. Now, there are plenty of videos out there. I think Chad from Squarebody Stuff has some great videos on removing your steering wheel, the lock plate, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really doing too much of a how-to, because I'm really just sort of learning this myself. But if you're watching along, you can kind of figure it out with me and see if I get it right. But like I said, I'm taking pictures along the way because I want to get it back in correctly. And yeah, these are Torx 20s. And I'm trying to keep everything together because I am known for losing stuff. This is a sort of a springy plate, and I think I need to make sure it's concaved, I guess. And you can see, hopefully you can see, it is shaped like that, and I think I've got to make sure it goes back in like that. All right, so that's a little spring, I think, for the horn. Now I need to pull the steering wheel. Okay, so I've got my steering wheel puller on. Okay, and that is off. Now, a lot of this is old plastic, and I just want to make sure I don't break anything. That's the one that concerns me the most. But this is the locking piece, I think. Yep. And I need to press. Man, that does not want to move at all. I think I need to press this down in order to get that snap ring out. Okay. But I'm going to see if I can get the lock ring out. Hopefully you can see it right there. 2 hours later, not sure if you can see it, but I managed to get the little ring pulled up a little bit. All right, so there's the little ring. There's the plate. I believe this is the horn button. And this is the first one we're coming to, which is the turn signal switch. And there's this spring. And I think I need to, need to turn the signal in order to get to that screw. There's another screw, and then there's one in there. And that will take that out, but I do need to drop the column in order to unplug the wiring. Yay. And in the world of really tricky things, I think there's the wire that attaches to this and then changes the setting on the transmission, reverse drive, neutral, all that. So I have to make sure before as I'm dropping this, I don't break that wire that I think runs into the column here for this. But I've got this piece out. I need to take this one out now. And then I think there's probably 2 bolts here holding the column up. And I think this is the intermittent wipers. Ah, there is 2 big ones up here. So I probably didn't even really need to take this one off. And I'm gonna need to take that off. It's hanging by this. But How do you... I managed to get this unplugged and then this piece pulled out. This is the turn signal. Whew. And then I'm assuming this is all the wiper stuff. How am I going to get that up back through there? Wow. I mean, I can cut that off, but getting the other one fed down through there, oy, oy, oy. Okay, I've got the 3 screws out. I think I might need to take off hazard 2. Am I missing something? Is it this? No matter what, that's going to be in the way. Alright, made a little room by pulling the wires up. So maybe first thing I can do is at least get the lock cylinder changed out. Okay, there's another little Torx screw. Got it into the on position and there it comes. Alright, that wasn't as bad as I thought. You know what's funny though? This was in there, but it wasn't even close to being tight. I mean, it was just sitting there, which is interesting. Anyway, let's drop our new lock cylinder in. Got it in the on position. Think we're good. Just need to put this back in. All right, and now I have an extra set of keys. Good to go there. It's catching on something. Ah, that sleeve is a pain in the butt. All right, it's better if it goes out like this. So I'm going to try to go in like that. Oh, how to do this without not damaging it. There we go. Not quite as bad as I thought it would be. And it's just a matter of plugging it in. And this needs to flip up like that. But I want to make sure the wires aren't getting pinched. Yeah, see there, they're getting twisted. There we go. I think getting them in like that will keep them lying flat, but I may need to twist. Alright, so I've got this in the bracket, and I think I just need to plug it in. Oops. Alright, I'll see if I can get that plugged in. Okay, this is interesting. When I plug it in, the horn sounds. Watch. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Why is it doing that? Okay. I don't know how to deal with that. Okay, I think I know what it was. I have it plugged in now. It's not doing that. I think it was, this was touching. Yep. Okay. This was touching metal. It was grounding it, I guess. All right, so that is plugged in. I believe we're all done. And I can start to button all this up here. That was a bear getting all 4 of these lined up and then getting it up back up on here. But I've got the little gear shift indicator back on, and I think I'm actually going to connect this, make sure everything's okay before I button it all up. One other thing I was actually able to do while I was in here, I was never able to replace this one when I redid the dash, because I'd already sort of put this up before I forgot about it. But I got this one in. So now all my vents are new. Now I'm thinking too, I might check the switch first, the wipers. Yep, see there is one wire. And it goes down there somewhere. My new one does not have the wire, so I'm just going to cut this. Because yeah, this is just for a cruise. It won't affect my wiper situation. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this and tuck this back up in here in case maybe someday I try to figure out cruise. I don't know. All right, I will tape this tip off and be done with it. Okay, I just push this in. There's low, high, off. That misting works. There are 2, just in case you don't know, there's 2 tabs. There's one tab that has to line up and go, the metal part that has to go all the way in. There's 2 tabs sort of at an angle like this that have to line up, and I had to push it in fully to get it engaged, and then that caught this. So that's in. Sorry I didn't film it, but I was just sort of testing it, and it went in, but there are other videos out there on replacing this switch. But I've got this in and tightened up. I just need to put in my hazard, that hole lined up, so we're good there. All right, so my problem is not with this switch. They still don't stop and park, so I have a feeling it's the wiper motor. But at least this is shiny and new. I mean, all the letters had been all wiped off and everything, so considering the interior's new, that looks much better. But yeah, see, watch. It's off. Turn it to low. Then if I turn it off, it still doesn't turn off. But if I click this, it turns off. See, watch. Actually, it doesn't even do that. There we go. It's, you can see it's turning off, but it's not parking. So, yeah. All right, like I said, at least I've got turn signal. Hopefully this works. But I've got this all hooked back up, and this does not. It works. It just doesn't do what it's supposed to. All right, so I got the snap ring back in place. And that's done. All right, so I got the wheel back on. Time to finish this off. Almost had everything right, but I gotta have that little notch up at the top. I had it down there. So yeah, let me put that back in. Let's try this again. There we go. And does the horn work? Sort of. I did order another one of these. $50. That's fun, just because it's got one little crack in it. I was going to order it from CJ Pony Parts, where I've gotten a lot of my parts. They wanted $25 to ship that. It's this big. $25. Ordered it from USA One Industries, I think, for like $14. But it's not going to be here in time for the video, but I've got it all back together. All right, so I pretty much just need to button this back up and I'm done. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. I got a couple things taken care of on my list, getting ready for the Hot Rod Power Tour. Give me a like if you got anything out of it. Comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions. I'm not sure if it's the switch that's inside the steering column or if it's the motor itself because it's not parking. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me out. I do know that there's an issue with those 84 and up intermittent wiper boxes that are down there below the whatchamacallit. I might take that off, plug those two together and see if that's it. But let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you can. That'd be cool. Helps the channel out. And thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time.